Good morning. I'm Nathan Goebel. I am the MLS Project Manager. I've been with HAR for just over 16 years, and I'm here to give you an update on the MLS and the Matrix 360 preview. We will be doing a combination of a PowerPoint presentation and a live demonstration. For any questions that you may have, please feel free to ask them as the webinar progresses, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. We're going to make sure and leave plenty of time for any questions you may have about anything you see in this presentation, and later there will be a link sent to you so that you can watch it again. So going over a MLS recap of features that we've recently released, we rolled out reverse prospecting in September of last year. It's a new feature that was added to Matrix to help listing agents identify and communicate with other agents who have clients with search criteria that match their listing. It's called reverse prospecting and can be thought of as the opposite of buyers searching for listings. Reverse prospecting is completely anonymous regarding your buyer's information, and listing agents are never provided your customer names or contact information. The listing agent is only made aware of the agent's identity, not their client. When you are looking to do a reverse prospect search, you would hover your mouse over My Matrix and click on My Listings. You would look at My Active Listings, select one of your listings, and then click on Reverse Prospect. From there, you're then going to be provided with a list of the agents who have searches that match your criteria. And in this list, you see several columns. The first one is the agent. That's the buyer's agent who has an auto email associated with a contact that matches your property. The reference number refers to that buyer. The pre-approved is a field inside contacts that identifies whether they're pre-approved for a loan. It's not often used, which is why you'll see it be blank most of the time. The envelope icon will let you know whether you've already emailed that buyer's agent already. The count lets you know how many matches that search has. The lower the number that matches, the better the odds that you could land a possible lead with that buyer's agent. The date sent lets you know when the system sent that listing to the client. The folder icon lets you know if that listing has been saved as a favorite, possibility, or discard by the contact. The email gives you the email to that buyer's agent, and then the office and direct phone number if you'd rather call them instead of emailing them. If you were to email them, this is the form that would come up from the system. One thing I would recommend doing is adding the address to the subject line in addition to the MLS number. Many agents look at this information on the go, and so when they're clicking on it from their phone, seeing the address helps them quickly identify what property it is that they're looking for as opposed to just the MLS number. You can then enter an email body and put in a signature. When it's sent, they would then receive it, and just see. Then they could click on it to view who the buyer is, what information about that property. On the flip side, as a buyer's agent, say you have an investor or you're doing one for yourself and you don't want to be reverse prospected as yourself, you can go to Contacts, click on your own name, click on Edit Contact, click on the checkbox that says Enable Reverse Prospecting and uncheck it, and then hit Save. By doing this, you'll no longer be notified or you'll be invisible to reverse prospecting from listing agents. HAR Directions was a new feature that we rolled out in September or October that allowed our agents to use a better direction creation system. The one inside Matrix, many members found to have some faults or errors with it. It didn't have features that we were looking for. And so our technology department created a new feature called HAR Directions, and it actually has a default route optimizer in it where it takes the selected properties and then creates the best route based on those properties. It then allows you to add listings to the route. You can even turn off optimized route if you'd like to manually sort the properties, and then you can click the Get Directions button to spit out a directions for you to use on your phone or via email. HAR Text Share is version 2 of text listings. Previously, you could select the listing and then you'd hit text listing and you would send a text message. Now, when you do that, you have the ability to text the listing, email it to the client, use media share, or as well use the directions. When you hit to send a text message, you can put in the phone number as well as the message. Please remember that it is an automated system that is using that, so it won't show your phone number when it texts it to your client. It shows the default phone number from the system. If you want it to come from your phone, I would recommend that you actually text it to yourself and then text it to your client from there. And if you're an MLS Platinum subscriber, when you use the text feature, it will have your Platinum information wrapped around the listings. Going into new features, We recently released the Terradatum Market Area Trends reports. We integrated them directly onto the Agent Full report so that you could quickly access them. The fields we made them key off of are the area field, city location field, county field, market area field, and zip code. So if you were to click on one of these, it would open up a report that looks like this. On average, it takes about 20 seconds for this report to generate, and in the bottom left corner it will show you the criteria that was used, and then it will give a change between 2016 and 2019, and then you'll have options at the top for looking at closed listings, new listings, pending listings, average days on market, median sales price, average price per square foot, sales price to original price ratio, and the month supply. If you want to incorporate this in a listing presentation, you would click the cloud icon in the top right corner, and then you have the option of choosing all the reports or cherry picking which report it is you would like to include or export from the system, and then click Done to bring it out. Going into new features that are coming in the next couple months, we have the room description overhaul. We had received member feedback that searching for rooms had been less than desirable compared to how it was in Tempo, and after receiving that feedback and reviewing the information, we determined that there were changes that need to be made. So we'll be making significant changes to how room information is entered, displayed, and most importantly searched in Matrix. The fields bedroom description, room description, and bathroom description will be restored by April. The kitchen description is going to be added as a new field. There will be new values entered into the interior features field. Values will be removed from the interior features field and placed in the field that makes the most sense. Here is a preview of those changes that we're going to be making. In the bathroom descriptions field, we will be adding or revising Whirlpool tub to Whirlpool jetted tub. We'll be adding Hollywood bath, vanity area, and disabled access. In the bedroom descriptions, we'll also be adding walk-in closet, sitting area, ensuite bath, and multi-level bedroom. In flooring, we'll be adding bamboo, engineered wood, travertine, and vinyl plank. Kitchen description is a new field with a whole new set of values for breakfast bar, instant hot water, island with cooktop, without cooktop, kitchen open to family room, pantry, pot filler, pot pan drawers, reverse osmosis, second sink, soft closing cabinets, soft closing drawers, under cabinet lighting, and walk-in pantry. And finally, room descriptions will have the utility room and house and utility room and garage added to it as well. In interior features, we'll see values both added and removed. Tile has been moved to flooring. Hollywood bath is moving to bath. Island kitchen is moved to the kitchen description. Country kitchen, breakfast bar have been moved to the kitchen description. Bedroom with sitting area and multi-level bedroom have been moved to the bedroom descriptions. We'll also be adding balcony, crown molding, formal entry foyer, wired for sound, and central laundry to it. So what's coming down the road? Matrix 360 and quick edits from the HAR app. These are the two most eminent projects that we've been working on to bring to you within the next 2 to 3 months. Matrix 360 is a long-term project of bringing property data inside the Matrix system. For the longest time, members have had to go into an external system. Previously, if you've been a member more than 5 years, you went into a system called Stewart Tax, and when you went there, you had to do a search separate from the MLS. Then we converted over to Realist, and again, it was a separate product that you had to go into separate from the MLS. The problem with Realist is that Realist is Flash-based, and with it being Flash-based, it has an end of life that is coming next year. Adobe is pulling the plug on Flash-based products next year. So CoreLogic has been working to bring the tax system inside of Matrix so that there is no more Flash being used. One of the things that will benefit from this is that you'll have the tax database and the Matrix MLS database combined together, and the system will be able to match tax records and listings to each other. This creates a property-centric multiple listing platform that gives a 360-degree view of properties in your market. Here's a quick preview of the search form. We're going to do a live demonstration in just a moment. I'm just giving a few more screenshots before we go over there. So you'll see here the search form has been changed from what you're used to inside Realist, but it's the same as the way it is in Matrix. You'll see the same 3 tabs for criteria, map, and results, and you can draw a map to get tax records and use criteria here to identify those tax records. Additionally, just like in Realist, you can add fields at the bottom that are available for searching the tax records. You could also use MLS statuses or MLS number to cross-reference the tax information with active or sold MLS data. The search results grid is going to look just like it does in Matrix, so you'll see the parcel ID as the primary driver instead of the MLS number like it does on an MLS search. You'll see columns on the left-hand side for photographs, the status, whether a listing is a short sale, an auction, or a foreclosure. We're going to have information to confirm how CoreLogic identifies those flags so that you can better understand that. And here's what the detail report inside Matrix is going to look. For those that are used to looking at the realist tax reports, you'll see these look almost the same. The main difference here is that you're now having a new report called the 360 property view. And you'll have the tax tab, last listing tab, photos, history, parcel map, flood map, and foreclosure if there's any information available. Finally, a feature I can't show you today but will be available when we go live with it to all members. It's called Walk the Block. This is a feature we've been trying to get incorporated into the MLS for some time now, where you can click on any plat inside the map without having to do a search. It will show you the address, and then it will give you an ability to go to see any of the previous listing or a tax record based on that property. So for the first time, you'd be able to just crawl through the map and actually obtain as much information as you need without actually having to do a realist tax search or an MLS-based tax search. So let's go ahead and do a live demonstration. So once you're in here, the new feature that's going to be rolled out is when you hover your mouse over search, you'll click on the new option down at the bottom that says Public Record. Inside Public Record is the same search screen I just showed in the presentation. And so to give an idea of how cross-referencing works, if I select Harris County and I put a zip code in, using the zip code for the tax as opposed to the zip code for the property, and I select Active Listings, down in the bottom left you'll now see there's 200 records that match. If I were to take this to another level and say I wanted to see properties in 77450 that are active that had a last sale date within the past 3 years, just like I'm used to doing inside the regular Matrix search, I put 1/1/2016 with the plus sign, and you'll now see there's 49 records. So if I go to the results, you're going to see these 49 records are currently active in the MLS and have sold in the past 3 years. And there's more columns on the screen that can be displayed. We're going to find a way to possibly optimize that, at least initially with launch, and then you as the user can add and remove any columns as you see fit, just like you did on the quick search screen. So going through these columns that you see, you'll see the status here. If you hover your mouse, you'll see an option that tells you what that icon stands for. If I put my mouse over this yellow tag, it says that it's an auction. If I put it over here, there's an REO sale. We're going to get confirmation as to what that exactly means so that our members are aware and confident of what they're actually clicking on and seeing with things related to REO sale, foreclosure, auction, and short sale. You'll then see the tax ID as the main ID, the address to view the map, and then a series of other columns that are basic attributes about the property, including the assessed value, the tax amount, and then the MLS number. If we click on the tax ID, that takes us into the new report called the 360 property view. And it will take a few moments to load because it is taking considerable information to bring forward to you. And then you're going to see the tax data that is provided just like it was inside Realist. And we are currently in testing mode, which means we are looking at this report and comparing it to Realist and identifying differences and seeing how we can reconcile those before we go live so that there's minimal disruption to what you're used to seeing and what you're going to see. If I click on the last listing tab, it's going to find the most recent listing for this property, and it's going to display that agent full report right here for you to review. If you click on the Photos tab, it's going to show you the photos for the most recent listing, again for review. If you click on the History tab, this is the biggest change for our members, is it's not using the same history report that we have on the Agent Full report. This is actually the 360 report because it shows previous listings, and then as you scroll further down, this has a lot of history, you'll see a sales history associated with it with the buyer and seller at the bottom, as well as the mortgage-related information that includes the term and interest rate if applicable. Most likely there won't be any interest rates in the past 5 or 6 years due to the CFPB regulation changes with the closing disclosure forms. But older data may still have that, and it will show the title company if available. This information here is obtained from the county clerks for the local counties, and we have obtained this information for all 254 counties in the state of Texas. The next tab is the parcel map. I happen to like this view because it gives you all three aerial perspectives of the property. The first one being a satellite view of the property, the second one being the plat map view of the property, and again, a disclaimer is that these are estimates. These are not to be considered the actual boundaries. A survey, there's nothing that replaces a survey for what the meets and bounds of a property is, but these are fairly close. I normally find them to be within 10%. At least for an overview process or unofficial. The bottom map here is a zoomed out aerial view so you can get kind of an idea of the area. One issue that we've identified in testing right now is that the old search requirement or map scroll requirement of having to hold down the control to zoom in and out is back, and we're hoping that we can have that fixed before launch. The flood map is exactly that. It tells you the flood zone code, the date of that panel, the flood code description so that you understand what it is, the flood zone panel number, that's a reference for FEMA so that you can go to FEMA and actually plug that in and get all the information related to that panel, and then letting you know if you're in a special flood hazard area. At the bottom, it will also tell you what all of the color codes mean. So if I were to zoom this out, I think it's right there, one more zoom, and I were to scroll and I see these multiple colors here, and I don't know what X, AE, X500 stand for, I can come down here and look at the color and see that that yellow is a 500 floodplain including levee protected area. The X, of course, is supposed to be the safe zone, and then the AE looks like that's the 100-year floodplain. And based on where I'm at, this is by George Bush Park, and that all makes perfect sense. This doesn't have any foreclosure, so if there's no foreclosure property or data related to it, that tab will be grayed out and not usable for you. Going on to the next features that you're used to using inside Realist, if I were to select this property and I click on the export option, right now you see that it says 5,000, but the number will be 10,000 by the time we launch. The default was 5,000, and this is for when you export data from Realist to use inside your own mailing programs or campaigns that you can export the information you need. It still is going to have that counter. If you're going to labels, the change here is it's not in the same place as exporting. It's under Print Email PDF, and you're going to see an option here for mailing labels 5160. For these options, occupant property, occupant tax, occupant property address, owner tax address, occupied owner property address, and then occupant owner and tax address. You select one of those reports, and then it generates a PDF. One thing you'll notice here is there's no counter for the label. It's my understanding that there is no limit to how many labels you can generate when you're inside Matrix 360. This is a significant change to Realist itself, where the 10,000 export feature was combined between creating labels and exporting data. So now you will be unlimited on your labels, you'll just be limited on your export. So one of the other benefits that comes from Matrix 360 is if you're used to the recent searches drop-down, you'll now see that tax searches are going to be visible to you here so that you can quickly access searches you may have done earlier in the day, and you can even see the time that it was run, and then there's the record count to match it. And it has a new icon, which is this government building icon right here, to differentiate it from, say, single family and townhouse condo so that you know that it's a tax-specific search. Matrix 360 is just what you've seen. There are no other huge significant changes. If you were to go into the report, I want to say there is one last thing. If you click on that option right there, Realist Tax, you can click on and go into the actual legacy Realist and see the legacy report itself. And then from here, if you want, you can click on Launch Realist to launch the full application. When we go live with Matrix 360, Realist Tax is still going to be here for you to use, and Public Record will be here for using the Matrix 360 tax search. They will be here for the near future. I would predict that this would be running together until at least November, which is our normal time for retiring a product, but it's at CoreLogic's discretion when the product will be retired. We are one of the first clients to be cutting over to Matrix 360, and so when we go live, we will be very receptive to your feedback and submitting it to CoreLogic, and the changes that are easy to make, we will be working to make as quickly as possible, and more difficult changes, we will be making enhancement requests to them and then following up on those to see if they can be implemented at a future publish. Going back to the presentation, the next feature that we're looking to launch, and this is probably coming within the next few weeks based on the testing that we're currently doing, is called Quick Listing Edits. And so once you open up your app, which is not available today, and you click on My Listings when you have the app open, and then you click any of the listings that you currently have, you will see a new option available to you by listing price to change, status to change, public remarks to change, private remarks to change. So if we want to change price, we would click on change, and then we'll have the ability to put a price in and then hit save. If it's successful, you'll see this message. It says the new listing price has been saved successfully, and you will have changed the list price of your listing in Matrix without having to go into Matrix. This is something you will be able to do on the fly for the first time, enabling you to have a meeting with your seller, have them agree to have a price change, and then you can pull out your phone, and before you even leave the meeting or discussion with them, you've already changed the price. You don't have to get back to a computer to make that change. Another thing you'll be able to do is change the status. So if I were to click on that and then click on Option Pending, I'll then have the ability to put in a pending date, and it will not let me put a pending date in the future. We put logic in to prevent that from happening, and then you'll put in an estimated closing date, and it won't let you put a date in the past. Again, logic to prevent that from happening. Then you'll indicate, did the selling agent represent the buyer? Then you'll enter in when the option end date is, and then you'll be able to look up the selling agent. And we've implemented two ways you can look up a selling agent, either by their public ID, just typing that in and then touching the agent that matches what you're looking for, or by looking by their name, and then you can again touch their name, and then it inserts it into the screen showing you the selling agent MLS ID. When you hit save, if it's successful, it'll say the listing has been updated successfully. One thing you should note is that once you make these changes, you will not see them in the app immediately. You will see them in Matrix immediately. It will take a few minutes for the update from Matrix to come back into the app for you to see those changes. We're working to see if there's a way to get around that in the future, but at launch, you should know that that's how it's going to work, and we even put a disclaimer in there saying it may take several minutes for the changes to show up in HAR.com app or the website. You will also be able to edit the public remarks on the fly from the app, and you will also be able to update the appointment number and expiration date. So if you get a listing extension and you want to change that date before you have an opportunity to forget to change the date, and then you have to call the quality assurance department to assist you with that, you can change it right there on the fly, put in a new date, and save it. And that's listing edits. We're currently in testing for that right now. We're looking to launch that in the next few weeks. Of course, we'll be dependent on the App Store pushing that build out to our members. And at this point, I open it up to questions that any of you may have. Let's see, going back here. When is the new features rolling out? The Matrix 360 is looking to roll out by April, and the Quick Edits is looking to roll out hopefully by April as well, if not sooner. I am new to the industry. What do you recommend to be the starting point to learn HAR? I think the HAR launch class is a great starting point, as well as Matrix 1 and 2. Marilyn, what other classes would you recommend? The Platinum Essentials, How to Enhance Your Real Estate Business, is another good, that covers all of the HAR tools. The Add Edit feature in the HAR app will not be removed. So if you still prefer to go directly into Matrix and make the changes from your app, say you're on your iPad and you'd rather go that way, you absolutely can. This is just a way for you to make a quick changes to these 10 fields on the fly, as opposed to having to go into Matrix directly. When you're on a phone, it is very cumbersome to make any changes in Add Edit, but that feature is not being removed. The last class is the Platinum Tools, and it's tools to enhance your real estate business. Asma, we will make sure to send the courses regarding the MLS. We're more than happy to make sure you know all of the classes that are recommended as a new agent. Lisa asked, can you explain more of the AVM that I saw in the public records screen? We are learning about that AVM information at the moment. I honestly received access to Matrix 360 less than 48 hours ago, so I am still learning all of the changes that are inside of it. As soon as I'm more comfortable, I'll be more than happy to send you an email about the AVM feature that is inside of Matrix 360. Include our mark location. Yes, the room descriptions, Chet asked, will the room descriptions include a requirement to mark the location of the bedroom, such as master on the first floor? Right now, when you enter a listing, you're required to indicate the floor that your property is on. As far as the bedroom descriptions itself, there is a thing to say the master is on the first floor. That's one of the hugest issues we're trying to address, is that master bedroom location and being able to search by that information. Diane asked, will this webinar be available for us to go back and view again? Absolutely. Later today, after we make a few edits, it will be sent out to you for you to review at any time. And we'll include a class list in that email so that you know what classes to attend for the future. Catherine asked, will the public records search be available in the HAR app? That is something we are looking into. We're not sure how the HTML for Matrix 360 is compatible outside of the Matrix system itself. I would expect that you would be able to access it natively if you were in Safari or Google Chrome and going into Matrix, but as far as HAR App direct integration, that'll be a future consideration. Okay, we got just a few more minutes. One feature I just realized that we are looking to implement here in the near future, let's see if there's anyone else that may have questions, is we are looking to roll out access to an AVM, going back to Lisa's question that we have right here. And let me just make sure I got the right report open. I might have to log in as someone. Oh, there it is. So this is a new feature we're looking to integrate in the next month as well, but we don't have the icons. I didn't want to show it in its test phase. So if I click on this icon right here, it's going to take that property. If you notice, it was 3507 Palm, and it brings up this home value comparables report, which will then show me the AVM models from Black Knight, CoreLogic, Zillow, and the appraisal districts, showing the low, medium, and high, so that you can see what consumers are seeing. Consumers already see this information, so now we want you to be aware of it in consideration to that price. And you can see how they vary significantly between 95K or 91K all the way up to as high as 123K, which is a huge, variance on that property. AVM stands for Automated Valuation Model. It is basically when the computer uses its own calculations to determine the value of a house based on other sales and other variables that are plugged into the computer. Zillow or Zestimates was probably one of the first that was the most popular amongst consumers. I would not want to say it's the most popular amongst our members for obvious reasons. Okay, well, if there are no further questions, we are going to wrap this webinar and we are going to end it here. I thank you all for taking the time out of your morning to attend, and I hope that you were able to learn something of features that we've already released and what we're about to release, and we will be sending you a link later today, as well as courses to recommend for the future. Thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful day.